Hey guys, it's Angel. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're taking a look at Big Radials' latest aircraft. And it's not got radials! I'm shook. But not shook, because it's great. It's the Lockheed Jetstar. Yes, the Elvis jet. You know the one. Now, it doesn't have the livery for it yet, but it will have that livery. Now, the Jetstar, of course, company designated L329 and L1329. The C-140 in American military service. It's a business jet produced in the 60s and 70s. It was the first dedicated business jet to enter service, and the only one built by Lockheed. It's also one of the largest in class for quite a while, holding 10 plus 2 crew. Now, it has 4 engines, as you can see there, and those kind of slipper-style fuel tanks on the wings. Originally, it was a private project within Lockheed, with an eye to win a US Air Force requirement, but it got dropped for that, and it ended up becoming a business aircraft in its own right. First 2 prototypes had Bristol Siddeley Orpheus engines, and they kind of sucked, so they fitted Pratt & Whitney J12s, 4 of them, and you see how it looks now. So a bit like the Vickers Viscount, actually. The other outer engines mounted beside the inner ones, later used, of course, on the VC-10 and the Aleutian IL-62s, and I believe the early one had a bit of a different configuration. Either way, 202 were built. They were used by the US Air Force, the Mexican Air Force, and the Iranian Air Force in military service. Otherwise, in civilian purposes, 202 built. First flight in 57, and they were retired by the Air Force in the 1990s, so they stuck around. Now, of course, known most famously as the Elvis jet, of course. A very, very unique looking aircraft. Very space age, almost Buck Rogers-y. No, Flash Gordon-y, in fact, with those big engines and the wing design and the sweeps. Very, very nice aircraft. Now, you had the Jetstar 1, 2, C-731s, the VC-140, which is the VIP Air Force one. The C-140, the US Air Force one, was for cargo and passengers. And you had the Fanstar, which is a conversion by American Aviation Industries with 2G CF-34s in place of 4 JT-12s, or the other engines it had. But yeah, so those are obviously bigger turbofans rather than the low bypass ones it had here. Now, obviously we said Elvis Presley had one was on static display, I believe, because I'm pretty sure that's been bought and turned into a trailer now. Complicated. Either way. So, in terms of actual specificaciones for this aircraft, because those are important as we're sitting here talking about it, 8 to 10 passengers, as we mentioned, 4, in some versions, Garrett turbofans. Max speed is going to be in the region of 476 knots at 30,000 feet. Cruise is going to be around 438. Range of 2,900 or 2,600 nautical miles. 2,900 miles. Service ceiling 43,000 feet. Rate of climb up to 4,000 feet a minute. So she's a bit of a spicy pony. Now, for what we tell from the guys at Big Radials is that yes, it has not got radials. But this is a early release. This is a beta release, early access. It is not finished. I purchased this myself out of my own hard-earned currency. And, of course, being the King's jet and just a cool-looking airplane, I had to give it a try. So it's not finished. And so I'm not going to be expecting this to be a completed project. And we've seen this as a work in progress based on Big Radials' other aircraft. It will have support for the GTN 750 from PMS, of course, and it's already included in the panel in this version as a standard feature. It will be optional and selectable in the final one. And it will have an autopilot, again, a first for Big Radials, fuel management system for all 6 tanks, custom transponder, the usual native flight models, textures, PBR materials, the usual stuff, things they're working on. So custom CIVAT instruments, we've got the custom ADF going in there, the flight model will be perfected, the sounds will be completely original. The overhead panel, the bottom row is done. Left and right side panels will be done. External and internal 3D textures and modelling will need to be updated. Paint kit needs to be done. There's a lot in progress. This is coming out, I think, to release it as an early access before 24. I expect we'll see this in 2024. Right now, it is very unfinished. It is an alpha, which a lot of you are getting familiar with the concept of an alpha. Let me explain. An alpha is not the finished product, as some of you might seem to have assumed for 2024 in the technical alpha. An alpha is very deliberately unfinished to test specific things. It is not meant to be complete. So don't expect it to be. Other aircraft, by the way, include the Goose, the Norseman, Tomahawk, and the Newport 17. Right, let's go and take a look at this plane, shall we? We're faffing around here talking. We'll go outside real quick and we'll have a quick look around. Now, we're here at Altenrhein in southern Germany. One of the spots I like flying in. Of course, the TWA livery on this thing is pretty nice. Bunch of liveries, of course, for this aircraft. Now, texturing exterior-wise compared to the other aircraft isn't fantastic right now, but it's not bad. It's certainly okay. Obviously, handrails and things missing off the ladders there. This was £19 for me, just for the record. So not a particularly terrible price. Probably a bit on the steep end for what I've gotten here, as if this was finished. This is not. I love the reverses on this that are bucket kind that flip open. Looks like it's got two little machine guns there rather than little fuel dump ports. So gear bay is not particularly detailed out just yet. But what is modelled is pretty reasonable. So let's slow this down a bit more. We have the whole cabin in here. And if we go through here, the door is openable, by the way. There's a whole bathroom with towels and cupboards and stuff. And we have seats. We'll go and actually look in this internally properly in a second, and we can play with some features. So let's do that just now. So we'll go in here, and I'll spin us around and take us aft. Now, not only can I open up the cabinets here, and I do like these kind of features, but I can put the trays away for takeoff. So our champagne and our mugs is put away. I wish I could pop the corks. That'd be nice if I could click this and pop a champagne cork, or, you know, turn on the coffee percolator. We could tidy up our cabin. We can pull out those. I'm assuming we'll probably have working lights, etc. Maybe some other features here. Maybe we'll have visible passengers. I don't know yet. There's not a ton of details from the guys. Oh, hello. That just jerked for a second. Got the sofa back here. Now, this thing looks really small in real life inside them. They're not particularly huge. This one feels very expansive because it's flight sim, but they're quite compacted. Of course, here is the lavatory. Can't open the seat there. Close the door. It'd be funny if you could only actually raise the seat when the thing was actually open or closed. So we'll flip ourselves back here. In fact, no, we need to go back to the door first to show you that. So you bring in the stairs by clicking on them. And yes, the door is from the inside on this aircraft. So we push it closed and latch it. So yeah, the stairs do stay inside. Fun fact, that. And the door is on that sliding system. So internal textures aren't actually bad. They're not bad at all. It's a very old aircraft. 50s and 60s, so expecting it to look a little bit more retro. Loving a bit of wear and tear on this thing, which is nice. Of course, we can get rid of the yokes with these visibility click spots here. And we've got the bottom row of this sorted. The top row up here is not done yet, obviously. A lot of this stuff is just as it is. It's not clickable. It's not even animated yet. And that's okay. I do like having the lights up here. Those are quite cool. So, of course, we've got our alternators here. We've got our air start. We've got our engine bleed air. I'm going to control this thing for a start because it's the only real way to get this thing to run, realistically. But we should be okay in that regard. Otherwise, there's our fuel tank system here and the various pumps we have to engage and operate. Cross-feed systems, fuel pumps, of course, all there to operate all 6 of these. Tank 1, 2, 3, 4, and the AUXes. I suspect that'll be a doubled up AUX one, reading out both separate AUX tanks, but reading them as left AUX, right AUX. Yep, it is, exactly. So it's showing the AUX channel tanks in general. These will be feeding into the other ones, I suspect, so they'll be kind of feeding at the same time. What do you do? Push to test. I like test buttons. Got flaps, got throttles. I'm loving the wear and tear. This is one thing these guys do really well at Big Radials, is wear and tear and damage on various kind of components. And these look nice. Things do look rather good. It'll be cool if we have the INS working as well. That does seem clickable, so we'll have to see how this one works. I think that's an INS. Yes, it is. I believe that's an INS. I think it is. It looks like the INS in the Captain Sim 707, the good one. So batteries and avionics going on here. And if you give me just a second, I'll be right back with you. So things are on here. We've got our 4 engines here set back. Make sure everything's good to go. And it's going to be a case of Control E, because this is just what we're operating with right now. The systems just don't exist to start it properly right now. So I'm going to hit that controlling magic button here. Sounds the default for the moment, but we're going to get a chance to play with this aircraft. So I can turn off the... I can never seem to find the right light for the landing lights, you know. It's always one that sneaks up on me. And yeah, the favourite thing about these engines is the buckets opening on the reverses there. Love that. Let's take a look inside here. Our engines are spinning. I think one's spinning now. They all seem to be a little bit unsure of what they're doing. Yep, there go the reversers. The engines are operational. We'll see that once it's actually operational, I think. But I think we're good right now. Let's turn this on. Obviously, this won't be in every version. This is something you'll be able to select and have chosen to be visible. Would be in a modern one if there were any of them flying. But I think in this case, it's going to be a matter of it's there to basically have if you want it, and if you want to get rid of it, you can. Announcement panel there. It's very vintage feeling, and I do quite like that about this aircraft. I can see a lot of potential. I think that's the big thing for me, is there's a ton of potential around this. And apparently a lot of other people haven't really looked at this aircraft yet when it comes to previewing it, because it's very early access, it's unfinished. I'm willing to look at it and see the potential. I will look at it and check back as we get big updates and see what happens to it. Is it worth playing with now if you want to absolutely desperately fly a Jetstar? Yes. Is it going to be a very good experience to fly? Probably not. So, take that with a bucket of salt if you choose to. And I love this yoke system here, look at this. And that's something to fix there. Look at the ambient occlusion that's basically staying on the yoke stem. Obviously that's not something you should have there, that should be removed. Because the AO is, obviously the ambient occlusion gets... You set up light sources in the model program in simple terms. Those light sources will cast light onto the materials, and you can bake that light and shadow pattern into textures. It's a good way to start texture design out. Now, that will mean that the lighting around the stem of the yoke there is exactly where it is on... You see it there. Which means when you pull it out, though, you still got that. So I'd manually remove that, because obviously it's a moving part. But right, we are good here, so let's get our aircraft moving here. Not expecting miracles from it flying, but we're going to give it a crack and see how she behaves. Taxiing with 4 throttles is definitely an experience for a smaller aircraft like this. And they're very loud because there's so much going on. Tiny, 4 not very powerful turbojets blasting out the back of this thing. With the correct sounds will sound like an absolute weapon. It'll be screaming itself down the taxiways. Love the TWA livery. That's another one I'd love to see Asobo bring in as a stock livery like Pan Am. Why can't we have things like TWA? Give us a bunch of extinct airlines. Give us Brandt. Give us... you know, some of those really cool old ones. Your TWAs, yeah. Oh, God. Is Aloha still operating? I'm not sure they are. But, you know, you've got plenty of these cool old airlines that just don't exist anymore. Unfortunately, a lot of them can't be done like Pan Am, because a lot of them are technically not there. Or they are, but they merged. So the licenses and copyrights are still held by other companies. I believe TWA merged with somebody and went under the banner of one of the other flag carriers. Not sure if it was United or American or Delta, but TWA is technically part of was a merger. So Pan Am was still its independent self. It got to basically be separate. So when that died, the licensing died, which is why you ended up with Pan Am Railroads. Yeah, that was a thing, and they're still around, I think, and a bit dodgy. But hey, all right, let's get ourselves pulled back here. Launch our flaps for takeoff. I have no idea how much I need, but we'll get our head enabled here. It's a bit tippy! Oh god. Yep, I'm suspecting it'll be sorting out its handling on taxi. Trying to turn this thing too tightly and you get bedoinked. Which, given it's got a reasonably wide wheelbase, well, wide enough. I'm a little surprised by. Let's not do this too quickly, shall we? Okay, we'll taxi forward here to our holding point. Or the start of the runway itself. Well, that's more for landing. Oh, she's screaming. These sounds don't sound stock. Rock and roll time. Let's do this. I've never flown this before. This is going to be an absolute first time for everything. Needles alive. I have no idea how this is going to feel. Oh, the windows do open, by the way. Can I open it whilst I'm taking off? Yes, I can. You betcha. I should restart pulling back, shouldn't I? There we go. Wow! It's like an Elvis-shaped missile. Wow, dear God. This thing's climbing like the King's popularity still. Wowzers, that thing is rocket-shaped. Starship hasn't got a patch on this. What is yelling at me? Because it's not my speed, which is perfectly good. Let's pull this the heck back, shall we? Now, did I crack those, or is that just texture on the windows? It's a bit strong for lighting. Yeah, that's on there too. That's very strong. I don't like that. Pull this power all the way out. We just don't need any of this stuff. God, she's loud. Very loud airplane. I can see texture-wise, this is going to be super cool. This is a nicely done airplane that I think when everything's functional and working, it'll be a ton of fun. As an alpha and early access, it's definitely flyable. But it's a bit spicy meatball. There's our autopilot, by the way. Right here. Turn towards the river. Friedrichshafen is over there. Altenrhein below, here. It's about 45 minutes to cross this lake by ferry. Okay. Right, we're going to get ourselves turned around once we get a little bit further along here, and we'll set up for an approach and just see how this thing behaves. I'm not expecting miracles, but I'm expecting to see what she can do. So we're going to throw our gear in the first notch of flaps here whilst our speed is relatively low. A lot of nose pitch input there. So we've got 3 green. Second notch. I need to see where I'm going here. We should be, yeah, crosswind. I should have time to turn here. So power's back to idle. Turning in. I'm probably too close. Third flaps. Very hard to see visibly out of this windshield. We're quite tight in here. I don't like this. It's going to feel particularly good. I'm probably too high and too fast. 130, 140. Do I have spoilers to throw out? I don't think we do. And I'm so far off the runway. Let's squiggle it back over to this side. We're definitely going to use those reverses here. This is such a hashed up approach. I'll take a round. We've got 0 wind for a test, so I'm just going to take her out and do a keyhole. We'll come back in on over the water. The glare shield's very large in this aircraft, making it definitely a very prominent part in your vision. I've not got warning notifications showing yet, so I'm not actually sure what it's trying to warn me for. I think it's angle of attack, because it happens only on pitch input, and it's not the speed. So I think I'm exceeding angle of attack. Which means it has a very sensitive tail. That's for darn sure. Right, so we'll do a keyhole turn here for the 180 once we get past these buildings on our left. Which should give us enough distance here to make a much more established turn. In fact, we'll start the turn inbound now before we do our 180. Yeah, it's definitely angle of attack. Okay. We've got the flag there on our top right for leading edge flaps, so we have the slats on the aircraft, I believe. We're quite low here. This is getting, it's actually kind of hard to place a visual with how sensitive it is on pitch and how thin the windows are. Kind of controlling how I'm seeing this aircraft is quite difficult, so we'll try and drop the nose here. Oh, the roll is quite strong. Shut up. I'm trying to reduce my pitch here. Because I'm climbing, it just wants to climb. Quiet. I'm not sure what you're warning me of here. Because I'm not exceeding angle of attack. Is it speed with gear down? No. I'm not quite sure what you're trying to tell me, airplane. No, don't say that word. And once again, we're completely off here, so we'll keep coming back and we'll roll it round. Yeah, the flight modelling is very... the flight model is something they said they're working on. It feels quite tricky. Like, maybe it's an experience with the aircraft, but it's also a very small visual. I'm not getting as much view as I'd like to have. And it feels quite hard to see. We're at full flaps, so we should be able to turn it in here and bring this down. That should be just fine, actually. Speed is bleeding off nicely. Yeah, she's super sensitive on the controls right now. So I'm only putting a little bit of input here and it's already turning in properly. It's very sensitive. It's honestly more sensitive than a Cessna, which is quite odd for a plane this big. Okay, we're good here. 130. I'll have to hit the reverses. I've got no choice. This is the time we're coming in, but we're straight at least. About as straight as Elvis's last hamburger. Okay. Throttles are at idle. Good job we have enough room here because this needs to at 5,000 feet to take off. And we're landing quite late here. Gonna force her down a little bit for a snuggle on the runway. Oh, it's definitely very tippy. You can feel how tippy it is. Look at this thing. That feels odd. Brakes and reverses are all engaged here. Yeah, incredibly tippy on that gear. I'm not sure if it's weight on the tanks there actually throwing this to a very narrow kind of landing gear, but you can see it rolling there on touchdown. It's not very stable. This might be how the airplane actually feels. I don't know. But I don't like how it feels, that's for sure. Like, the flight model being on their list of things they're working on is a... It's hard to understand what they mean by that. As in, is it being tweaked? Is this a placeholder flight model? Is this nowhere near what it's going to be like when it's done? I'd love to hear from the Big Radials guys, so if they actually watch this and they want to comment, please tell me in the comments what they're expecting from this. Obviously, I had no direct access to them beyond what a customer would have, so it's not like I was in the beta program and I could directly ask them these questions. I know what you guys know, and hopefully if we get answers from them, I will pin that in the comments to be able to see what their answers are to that, if they do. Yeah, like I say, I'm hoping this is a placeholder on the flight model, because it's definitely going to take some getting used to. Being my first time with it, it's definitely on the unusual side. And it's tricky. Now, that could be something that gets much easier with practice. But it's... she doesn't lose speed very easily. And she's very, very, very quick. So she doesn't want to slow down. Bit of a silver bullet. And this landing gear is comedy gold. Whee! Tipsy doodle. It's a very drunk jet. That's for sure. We'll pull her to a stop over here. We don't need to go super far on the taxiway. This will do. See this? It turns very quickly, but you also get to knock it over on one side. Which is quite fun. Okay. So, in this context, to shut it down... What do these do? Do they stop anything? They don't stop anything. Those are reverses. Those are just boost pumps. Off. Well, turning off the boost pumps killed the engine, so that's a good start in terms of things we know. Right, that's engaged. It's a very interesting aeroplane, that's for sure. I like it, and I'm curious, and I want to see where it's going to go in terms of development. It's obviously got a lot to do with it yet, in terms of textures, instruments, functionality. If this is like a very early access model, I'm pretty impressed. But... is it ready to be early access, or is this released as early access due to the timing of 2024? I'm not sure. Hopefully we'll find out. And I will keep you up to date on any updates, because I'm quite keen to see where this goes. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Bye!